сюда приезжают, сюда, в Тбилиси, они же не все вообще даже знают про проблему Абхазии, например.
Ну, они должны узнать.
Ну, а если они не знают, если они это не разделяют?
Если русские, которые приезжают в Грузию, не знают про Абхазию и Осетию, они просто невежды, и они не должны находиться здесь. Таких русских тут не ждут. Это поддержка российской политики. Они не знают, что 20% Грузии оккупировано Россией. Если россияне не знают, что прямо сейчас российская армия находится в Грузии, что российские танки в 20 километрах отсюда, и российские солдаты... которые считают себя миротворцами и нелегально находятся здесь, похищают местных жителей, если он этого не знает, а просто приезжает сюда есть хачапури, его тут не ждут.
Хорошо, но допустим...
Они поддерживают политику России. Невежество — это поддержка.
Я поняла, что вы, допустим, таким образом хотите просветить русских людей, чтобы они знали о том, что происходит в Грузии и что 20% оккупировано Россией. Окей. Но при чем здесь пункт, вот я у вас прочитала, «Слава Украине»? Или согласиться с тем, что русский военный корабль идет понятно куда. Вот. Причем здесь это и оккупация русскими войсками? Причем здесь слава Украине?
Это все идет вместе.
Нет. Но Украина какое имеет отношение к, например, Грузии?
А вы что, не видите никакой связи?
Мне кажется, это два разных суверенных государства. Почему вы в своем суверенном государстве хотите, чтобы люди знали не только про Абхазию, именно русские, а еще, например, то есть я знаю просто очень много людей, которые не поддерживают спецоперацию, так называемую.
Не, это все-таки война или спецоперация?
Я не имею права говорить для российского телевидения война, потому что меня за это посадят в тюрьму. Почему для вас так важно?
Потому что мы должны определиться, быть против войны, любой в принципе, или быть за Украину.
I think so. I mean, I think route is the right word. Route is the right word. I mean, it was a route. The first breakthrough below Kharkiv was a route, and certainly both of these in the north and the south at the moment, route is the right word because they're just falling apart. The Ukrainians have changed their tactics, obviously. They've got the bit between their teeth. They're limited by how fast the armour can go because, of course, tanks are expensive on fuel. You can't just drive from A to B easily. So what they've been doing is using off-road vehicles with 1s and 2s and 3 guys in, with machine guns and anti-tank weapons, and just literally driving as fast as they can into areas and doing something. And it's that doing something is, of course, creating the stress in the back lines for the Russians because they don't really know what's happening, where people are, whether they're surrounded, whether there's lots of people there or whether it's only 1 or 2. All they know is their tank's blown up. And in the north, they're actually moving quite quickly south towards Luhansk and Donetsk. And I heard that people were beginning to bail out of Luhansk already and heading towards the border. You've got to remember that their logistics stinks. That's the first thing. Their logistics stinks. I mean, the guys are not being fed in many cases. They're also peopled by a huge amount of alcoholics. They've got bad leaders who are running away first, leaving the soldiers there to die, effectively. So you've got no leadership, no coordination there at that point between the front line and the artillery. So they can't use the artillery to any effect. Once the Ukrainians got past the front line, then the artillery is neutered. It's got to go back and it's got to position itself, and then it's got to actually re-find targets, but they've got nobody to find targets for them because the boys at the front line, the Russians, are just running back anyway. I mean, some of the things that the Ukrainians have talked about are bizarre, that you've got whole units with only 1 or 2 weapons, and that they were actually put there just to literally, as in Stalingrad and Leningrad and the great fights around Moscow, you're just pushing people forward to die, pick up a weapon and carry on. A lot of them are already on the front line. I mean, I think that day 3 they captured the Ukrainians captured the first one. So, you know, they've already got, and a lot of I mean, these boys are not going to want to stay there. Some of the older men, maybe who've got military experience from Afghanistan or somewhere, they might actually come in and be quite strong. But in the main, I don't think anybody is going to want to fight when they're not given the proper equipment. The Russians will not want to fight in mud, wet and dirt because they're not properly equipped. They're not going to get any winter equipment. They're not even getting summer equipment. They're not even getting proper equipment for living. So they're not going to get winter equipment. They're not going to get generators. They're not going to get heaters. They're not going to get anything that they need to survive. I think if Kherson goes, the Russians will start running for Crimea because they'll know that, you know, the game has changed. And I would not be at all surprised to see the center line below Zaporizhzhia towards Mariupol. I would not be surprised to see that crumble as well, because they're running out of good people to bolster places. They had a lot in the north and they were destroyed. They've had a lot. They put a lot round towards Kherson, and now these guys are caught in a pocket. And there will be an end to this. I mean, you know, there is no defense of Kherson from the Russians because they're just running out of everything. So they are going to be defeated there. And then it's a case of what the Ukrainians do, probably just bolster the river there and shift a couple of the brigades round to Zaporizhzhia and start attacking south there.
Thank you.